You're listening to The Deal. I'm Danny Brown. Thank you for checking us out. If you haven't subscribed or left us a comment, please do that. You can go to Apple Podcasts to do that. It helps with our ratings. We have sponsors talking to us. They want to track our ratings, blah, blah, blah. This week's episode is the Vail real estate icon and legend, Tye Stockton. You can't talk Vail real estate without mentioning Tye. Incredible, incredible guy, crushing it out there. Has created this Immersion Theater technology where you can completely immerse yourself in the property tour experience while eating sushi in his office. He talks about that. He talks about the ups and downs of tough markets, the grinding 80-hour weeks, the workaholic, push to do more and more and more, and learning how to pull back and spend more time on yourself. He's always about growing and learning and getting better and improving himself. School is in session. You can check him out anytime at his website, the Stockton Group Vail. You can also find him on Instagram, Tye Stockton Vail. Hope you're well. Hope you're all enjoying the holiday season. Listen to this episode as much as you can. School is in session. Tye Stockton, good to see you. How's things going up in Vail?
Danny, it's awesome, man. We're right on the brink of kicking off winter season here. The Christmas tree lights, holiday setting is here, and awesome. it's sort of like the rocket on the launch pad in Houston, right? Like, here we go. We always
ready
look
to
forward
take
to
off.
Season kicking off. And
I'm looking at that beautiful mountain behind you, full of snow. Is the mountain open yet? Did it open, or is it open?
Yeah, we opened Thanksgiving weekend. We sort of limped into it. It was a little light, but we had over 2 feet of snow this last weekend, and that's a powder day. So we shut down the work for the day and go ski and act like teenage kids again. And it's awesome.
I can't wait to get up there. So tell me a little bit about
rite of passage.
Tell me a little about what's going on behind you. For those that don't know, the Immersion Studio that you've developed and created. Not only is that a beautiful visual that we're looking at, but I know there's a lot of tech behind what's behind you on your screen.
Yeah, well, thanks for asking about that. So we trademarked this system called Immersion Theater, and literally this room I'm sitting in is like a mini movie theater. We have automation where we dim lights and lower shades, and this screen behind me is a 4K resolution, 9-foot by 16-foot screen.
Amazing.
And I interact with it with an iPad. You can see I've got it sitting next to me. And what we've done is we've tied our entire MLS. So all of our listings, we got private exclusives through Compass that push through here, and everything is dynamic in real time. So literally, you can see I'm dragging my finger across.
Wow. And those are listings?
Screen.
I can point to a listing on the and it'll give me the info.
I've got 100% of the inventory. I'll go here. If I click on this building, it's going to do this really cool transition into the Solaris condominium building.
Incredible.
It's happening over my shoulder. And these are exact digital twins of every condo building. And as I drag my finger, you can see I'm doing this 360-degree pano tour around it.
Amazing.
And then where the fun begins is I just clicked a button and I added everything in green as active inventory. And I can put pending in yellow and then solds here. And when I do that, now we can spin around. Incredible. And we get everybody a chance to see. So this residence is pending, and I literally can go in, and that is a 9-foot image. So what we do, and everybody that is familiar in the real estate world, that first tour that you do, Danny, what I call the discovery tours, when people go, hey, I want to, 5 bedrooms, 6 baths, I can spend up to, $10 million. And I'm thinking these neighborhoods, and we all build that like we all know we do. It doesn't matter if we're in, Miami, Florida, or, Carmel, California. We all kind of think about it the same way. And what I did, I came up with this idea about 5 years ago. I said, what if we could contain that and we bring everybody in one room and we build that tour, and I have a search bar on my iPad, sort of like you would do on the Compass website or Zillow or whatever.
Yeah.
And we start there, and it creates a custom tour, but in the comfort of our room. And we give them, I know Nobu Matsuhisa, which is a
Yes, of
top.
course.
Well, we have a Matsuhisa in Vail, and we partner with them, and we bring in, world-class sushi, and we've got
Oh,
champagne and
that's a full
tequila,
experience.
and we just white glove them like crazy. And we'll do what used to take, 6 or 8 hours to run around and do our traditional tours. And we do it in about 30 minutes, and we get to a short list. And then we go see those 1 or 2 short list properties. And I literally can tell you a real story where I sold a $20 million condo.
Come on.
We started in my theater, and we had an offer in on it in less than 2 hours, and he bought it. And he goes, that was the most amazing experience I've ever seen. So,
yeah, that is wild.
I intended to do it just to have a competitive advantage in Vail, but I've since taken a big step back and, created a company, and we're going to scale this thing, and we'll launch our second immersion theater in Turks and Caicos. Compass doesn't have international offices yet, but
coming soon.
Coming soon. I did see that announcement, but a good friend of mine, my former life, I used to own the Sotheby's International Realty franchise in Vail.
Okay, yeah.
Sold that and, saw greener pastures with Compass. But we're going to launch Turks and Caicos in about 2 weeks, and we're looking at other strategic markets, and our clients love it, other brokers love it, and we can get around the issue of occupancy, rentals, and things during peak time. The town will be full, and we all have these issues where seller wants to sell their condo or their house, but it's rented or that it's occupied, and we can't get in it.
Can't get access. There's people there for a month.
Right. And our failure rate is high. And we let people ski as long as you want. If you're an hour late, we don't care. This is not about us. This is about you.
Yeah.
You come in, we'll have that sushi ready. We'll have that champagne, and let's go buy a house. Right. And so we're having a ton of fun with it. And we do.
There's the Green Mountain. So that's summertime. So you got the summertime look.
Yeah. And if I go back, I'm literally toggling between the seasons here, summer and winter seasons now. So that's the future real estate, which is now. I mean, you are executing on what we've all been thinking and talking about for a decade, but you're now doing it. Are you going to be licensing this or pushing this as a product? We are.
That's terrific, because I would imagine most people are going to want this. I mean, how could you not? I want it
this way. Think about this. It's radically different. Like what we're starting to see. I had a hunch that once we create it, it's sort of like going into, a Cartier store. Like it becomes a marketplace. Buyers don't have to pick their brokers. They don't worry about who the listing agent is. They just come in here and shop for homes, and we double side these things, and the rest of our competitors in the marketplace go, what just happened?
Yeah.
And say, well, and then with all this stuff that we were dealing with the recent lawsuits and, sort of bifurcating buyers and sellers, we believe we've positioned ourselves to have a massive value proposition for buyers where they can come in, and I don't care if you're in Beverly Hills or New York City or Chicago or Vail or Aspen. What's the one thing everybody wants to do? They want to save time. Time is precious, right? And so we're doing that. We're literally shaving off,
hours and hours,
7.5 hours. And when we surveyed people, they said, oh, but I want to look at real estate. I want to look at them. And I said, oh, we will. But what you really don't want to do is look at the ones you'll never buy. And so we get that elimination process out of the way.
Whittle it down to the.
And then we go, wouldn't it be great if you just saw the ones that you loved, and then you could choose between option A and option B and do it very quickly. And we send our agents with an iPad, and we do, DocuSign contracts. We have them all teed up. So they're going to go look at 2 properties. We already have drafts of both. We can do comp sets on here too ahead of time. So they go in
fully integrated.
Sit down on the sofa and go, let's plug in the price.
And think about the relationship equity, just being able to be face to face and having sushi and lunch, the nuances you learn about your clients and they learn about you, the connection so much deeper. What may take months and months and months could happen in an hour or less. That's mind blowing. So I love it. So look, I'm going to rewind because this could be a whole separate podcast. You are the top broker in Vail, Colorado, high-end market, one of the luxury ski resorts and summer resorts. Before we get into to anything else, can you give me a quick sort of 1 to 2 minute snapshot of the Vail real estate market coming out of the COVID boom, which was one of the most intense times for everyone, especially luxury mountain resorts, and now where we are today as we're in December of 2023 and things have changed in most markets. So just like a quick snapshot, not too detailed.
Yeah, and I can do that because it's quick because we are at historic inventory lows. And one of the things that we anticipated was some of these people that rushed in to buy these safe haven properties and these
Right, during
these really
COVID.
high end resorts would kind of go, okay, the world's better. I had my toy, I'm going to sell it. Yeah, that's not happening. I mean,
Okay,
people
it's
are
not.
entrenched here. Our prices are actually still going up. Of course, everybody is cost of money. Everybody thinks about that, but
Sure.
I do 90% of my deals are cash deals, and that could be a $35 million home. It's
Yeah.
not; these are not low price deals, but we're at historic lows inventory, especially in the condo in the core village. It comes on the market, and it usually has multiple showings and offers the first day, and they sell. And the high end homes above, let's say, 15 million have definitely slowed to some extent. But we had to. I mean, the people were, we used to sell above 20 million. We would do 6 to 8 homes a year in this
Okay.
market. And when the pandemic hit, we did 3 times that. And
3x
so
it, and
now
now
we're
it's
kind of,
back to
yeah,
where it
now
was.
we've normalized. We're back there, and that's actually a healthy thing because people can shop, and they're not going to get a big discount on price, but they can do an inspection, and maybe they get the
Take a
seller
little
to work
time.
with them some and take a little time, which I think we would all agree that we hate to see our buyers just get run through the ringer,
Oh,
like
it's awful.
above ask. I'm not fixing anything. It better
No,
be cash, no
yeah, no
contingencies.
investigation. Like it's awful. So tell me, so you're still saying that the bread and butter condo in town is still selling immediately at same or higher prices. So nothing significant. It's only just continued for your market.
Yeah, and we're breaking through ceilings still.
Got
We're
it.
4,000-5,000 bucks a square foot for key
Yeah.
real estate. And
Yeah.
I don't know that it's going to end anytime soon until you know inventory comes on the market and then it sits for a while. I mean, we all know that game. If it sells fast, it flushes out a very select few sellers that are like, hey, if I get a make me move number, I'll sell it and I'll move on. But I'm not super motivated right
Yeah.
now. So I'd love to see a little bit more balance in the condo market. The home market is better in that regard, but I don't see that changing a lot in the next 12 months looking forward.
No, it sounds like 3,000, 4,000 a foot. It sounds like the same as Aspen. I mean, that's the kind of high, ultra high end, rarefied air cost we're talking
Yeah,
about. What?
yeah. And if you talk to our buddy Stephen Shane,
Yeah, he was on here a
we're
couple months ago.
yeah, we're pretty aligned in terms of our buyer and seller thought process. It's a different crowd there than here. Ours is more sort of CEO finance. They're more entertainment, but
Yeah,
still they're uber high end buyers. And I would just say that well, for example, Seville's, which is a big brokerage in Europe,
yeah.
they do their annual ski report, which just came out about a week ago. And once again, this year, just like last year, Aspen #1 on the planet, Vail #2. I
Right
mean, and
there.
that's over like,
Yeah.
you know, Zermatt, Courchevel,
Yes,
all of
everywhere.
those, really,
Swiss,
sort of what my
Italian.
son calls bougie high end, ski resorts in Europe. I mean, we're outpacing them, not just from dollars and cents, but also they have a resiliency index where they talk about reliable snow and temperatures and all of that. It's a pretty cool deep dive in the resort mountain markets. And yeah, Vail and Aspen are putting out these numbers for a good reason because the guest experience is very high.
Now, I spend a ton of time in Aspen a couple times a year, and I love the restaurants and the town element. And I know a lot of people don't like that; they rather be off the grid. I haven't been to Vail, but talk to me for people that haven't been to Vail. what is the town like, and the amenities, the restaurants? Is it similar to Aspen, or is it not at all?
Well, Aspen has a bigger town. It's a mining town, just
Yeah,
like most of the ski resorts are. Vail was conceived in 1962, and
not that
the
long ago.
valley where we're at was literally farmland, lettuce and things. And these guys in the 10th Mountain Division back in World War II, when they got out of the war, they discovered this incredible terrain, which is the Vail's back bulge. You know, we have almost 6,000 acres. So we have a much smaller village with a much bigger mountain.
Got it.
And so what has happened over time, we don't have as many of the high end retailers because we just don't have as much of a footprint.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what makes Vail really unique from all the other resorts, including, like Sun Valley and Telluride and Aspen and Breckenridge and Steamboat, all of those, we are a pedestrian village. So it was modeled sort of in a Bavarian style, a European
So
style.
you
So
can
when you
walk
get here,
everywhere.
it's way family friendly. Like little kids can run out and, you're not worried about stepping in front of a car. And people find they
Nice.
love that quaintness and that safety. That being said, world class skiing. We have great dining, great shops. When I moved to Vail, we didn't really talk about my background, but I moved here 33 years ago from a Wall Street career in New York
Oh,
City,
wow.
and I looked at all these resorts, and Vail's kind of in the middle. So Aspen's an hour 45, Steamboat's an hour 45, Breckenridge is 45 minutes away. Winter Park. I mean, we have all of these resorts, so we can literally do day trips and then come back to Vail. So it's a spectacular place to raise a family and engage in resort market real estate. I've just had an unbelievably exciting career here.
So there are a lot of full-time families, great schools. It's not just, the people coming in second, third, fifth homes, or it's a little hybrid of both.
It's definitely a hybrid. I mean, we've seen a lot over the last decade with, broadband and remote work and just lifestyle. Like I was kind of a crazy, out of my mind guy 33 years ago when I walked away from a Bear Stearns Wall Street career to go live in the
Oh,
mountains.
we're getting into that. We're digging into
Yeah,
that. We're gonna
everybody
do.
thought I was crazy.
So wait,
But
I want to dig into that, but before I do, I want to just drill down one more little bit. So, how much is this is obviously a broad answer, but what is a bread and butter average nice 2 bedroom, 2.5 or 3 bedroom condo in town? Are we talking 3,000 a foot? Is that what it is? If it's 2,000 feet, it's 6 million plus or minus. Is that
Yeah,
the bread and butter?
you're in that $4 to $6 million
Okay.
range for a 2 billion or two bedroom
So a
condo.
basic, nice basic condo in town is going to be 4 to 6 million. So that's what I figured. All right, now we got to dig
Mhm.
into this background. How the hell did Tye Stockton from Wall Street end up in this beautiful ski town Vail? Let's start how you even got to Wall Street. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Florida.
Okay,
I
southeast.
was, my dad was he went to college at Florida State University, and
Seminoles.
so
Oh, they just got.
they took it on the chin. This is a
Oh,
tough
that
one.
isn't cool. Can you imagine
Uh,
undefeated? I
uh,
feel bad for them.
I'm still reeling from that.
I'm
I ended
sure
up going to
everyone in Seminole
college.
land is.
Yeah. So I grew up there and loved Tallahassee and went to college there. But then when I got out of school with an economics and finance degree, I was fortunate enough. I met a guy named Charles Ross, who at the time was vice chairman, so second in command behind Donald Reagan, who used to be Secretary of State for Ronald Reagan, and they were the two guys that ran Merrill Lynch.
Oh, okay. So you
And
had a
and
connection to a big
I met
shot.
him. Yeah, I met him in Florida, and he's like, you got spunk. Why don't you come up to New York and let's talk to some people and see if there's a fit for you and a career in New York. And fortunately, I talked my way into a good career, and then I left Merrill and went to Bear Stearns, and I was an institutional equity options trader. So we
Okay.
traded these big
Big.
blocks of options against underlying stocks, and I did that for 5 years. And where the fun began is I started doing guys trips out to Colorado. And I wasn't much of a skier, but had some friends that grew up skiing a bunch. And I came out here and absolutely fell in love
Yeah.
with the mountains. And, kind of woke up one day and went, uh-oh, what are you going to do? You got this yearning in your heart,
Yes.
but you have this career. And this was before the internet. And,
Yeah.
it's certainly, computers were standalone at that time. So kind of by accident, I said, well, I'm going to take a break. I got a really great job offer in San Francisco to go work for a big pension fund, to kind of bring what I did there in house. And they agreed to hire me and let me take a winter off. And I
Ah,
came skiing and, got just completely head over heels, swept off my feet with living here. And then a summer and then another, and then, I called him, I said, I'm not coming. And so, uh,
you fell in
you know,
love.
I, I did, and my heart and soul was in Vail, and I said, well, what do I got to do? I um, got involved in commercial real estate, and it just wasn't robust enough for a career, so I transitioned over in 2005 into residential real estate, and
Okay.
man, what a ride it's been! I mean,
I
you can
bet.
imagine from 2005 to 2024 to
Yeah.
where we are now. And I've met, you know, my who's who list of billionaires and,
Of course. Yeah.
multimillionaires. And these people are so lovely. They're just excited to own real estate in these beautiful resort markets. So they're fascinating and intriguing and very respectful of me and my team's knowledge of this market. I use that finance and analytics background, and we buy real estate right for people, and we negotiate really hard. And that's how I became number one here, is just really, yeah, I mean, you see it in every market. The best ones do it better than everybody else, and
Yeah.
that's how they become good, because we're in an industry where there's a lot of sometimes brokers, right? They work
Yeah.
when they want to
A whole
work, and they
lot.
don't really know the inventory. And man, I got to say, this work, to do it well, was harder than my Wall Street career. I mean,
Of course. People don't understand that. They
we're
don't
on
understand
call
it.
all the time.
Yeah, because
No,
they
they
don't
don't.
understand that to do it right, like we do it, is harder than Wall Street. But so many people aren't doing it that way. They're part timers. They're half-assed. Majority of the people just do a deal here and there for their friends and family. But it's very
Yeah, and I
different.
think I think the people that follow the industry closely now, kind of as the dust settles on the pandemic, and then we have ongoing changes in the industry. Knowledge is power, and having a comprehensive solution, like we're all fortunate enough to have with Compass. With like we're you know top
Yeah.
notch, rabid users of the platform. Like I literally did 4 CMAs in a half an hour span before you and I jumped on the air here, and they're beautiful, and we send them. But sometimes brokers are going to get pushed to the wayside here. I think in the next 48 months or so. I think we're going to get our due again, when everybody was buying up everything, and Uber drivers were selling real estate, and
Yes. Yes.
people were just grabbing. I think it's going to change. I really do, and I think it does it with
Every
the
market
cycles in real
cleans out,
estate.
the cycle cleans out a lot of the people. But I think it's already starting to happen, depending on your market and price points. And so tell me a
Definitely.
little bit now. So what were some of the challenges? I mean, the obvious choice is you made a full blown lifestyle change and career change. But what were
Mhm.
some of the toughest times and challenges coming to a new area? I'm assuming you didn't have a network or family there, starting a new career. Talk us
Yeah.
through that, and then talk me through maybe some challenges along the way, because soon after, 2008, 2009, as your Wall Street buddies were losing their shirts, our real
Yep.
estate market crashed too. I wonder what that was like. So talk us through those first
Yeah.
5 years making that
You know,
transition.
um, it's kind of a funny story, and I'll abbreviate this because I think I can make the point pretty well. When I decided to come here, I took a job at one of the high end hotels as a concierge,
Okay.
right? So I could ski a bunch, and I had a locker right near. I was like, I bought into this ski
You
thing.
were
I'm gonna
skiing, man. You were a ski.
Yeah, and I
Ski.
wasn't gonna stay, so it was like a winter of fun for me,
Yeah.
and I learned something really interesting as a concierge, like how to serve people and how to listen, right? And I made up this team thing where we said we're the can-do crew, and the answer is yes. Now, what's the question?
Yeah.
And and by being a concierge for just a couple of winters, I took some summers off. I learned the inventory. I learned the restaurants and the shops and everything. And so I really
Yes.
kind of accelerated my knowledge of the
Yes.
market.
What an
And so
education to do high-end luxury real estate.
yeah, and getting inside the head of these would-be buyers.
Same
I
consumer,
mean,
yeah.
I just listed a home for a guy that owned a condo in that building 33 years ago. I met him and we just listed his house for $30 million. And he's like, I'll
Wow.
never forget you, how you took care of our family, and I've watched your real estate career go. And so, you know, humble
That's nice.
beginnings, but it really it wasn't. I'm not going to sit here and tell the audience that that was intentional. I just did it because I thought it would be a great job to be able to ski a lot. But I sort of learned in sort of a back channel way how to really serve luxury buyers and sellers. And then to your point, in 2008, right, the whole real estate world stopped.
Yeah,
Well,
the sky was
um,
falling.
I did a really stupid thing that turned out to be really, uh, a good thing for me, is that I thought, well, real estate has completely reset. We are at a floor. And so I literally went to New Jersey and sold myself to start a Sotheby's International Realty franchise. This was before Compass was around, of course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I talked my way into it. And they're like, why would anybody, everybody's trying to get rid of brokerages. And I said, well, you know, I built a career before this out of mitigating risk
Yeah.
and, buying at a low. So I literally got a franchise for free,
The
right?
Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger model of
Right. Yeah,
coming in when
be the
it's
buyer
worth
when everybody else is selling.
selling. Yeah.
And then an interesting thing happened when I got the franchise. Uh, Vail Resorts, which is the mountain operator for Vail and all these different Vail owned properties, they were in the development game, and they built a 79 condo Ritz Carlton residence right at the base
Okay.
of the mountain. And they were freaking out, like, oh, the world's coming to an end.
In the middle of this,
And I
they
said,
can't sell
yeah. And I said, I have an international reach
them.
that has never happened in Vail before. And we can sell these things. And through a lot of my sort of finance and analytics, we built, comparisons, and we did like 5 fundamentals of why people should buy in a down market. And, we needed infrastructure and a strong developer and,
That's incredible.
lending sources. And we started selling those things in 2009 and 10.
Woo,
And we were the
tough time then.
best selling project in North America for 2 years running. And that saved me in a lot of ways, because not a lot was selling, but these guys were real sellers.
So
And
they
we were
had to
doing
sell
things
them.
like sellers concessions and
Whatever you had to do.
furnishings. And because they were Vail Resorts, I convinced them, give me lifetime ski passes to give away. And they bid on that, and we did, and we just started crushing it. We were selling
Lifetime ski
these
passes?
condos. Yeah. And
Buy
so,
a
and
condo and
people,
get a lifetime pass.
yeah, I mean, what a great marketing pitch,
So do
right?
you remember average price points of those condos at the bottom of the market? What we're
Those
talking about?
were those were 1,100, $1,200 a square foot. And now again, we're up over three,
3,000
four
plus.
thousand.
Oh,
And so all those people that bought,
yeah.
they bought, a condo for 3.5 million, and we're selling them for
10,
10 or
12.
11 now.
Oh,
And I go, you poor bastard, you got
yeah.
lifetime ski passes, you got to
Yes.
own a place in Vail.
Oh,
Like, yeah,
what a
yeah, I mean, you
deal.
knocked it out of the park, and they all look at me and they go, thanks for pushing a little bit, because real estate was not very popular at that time. And
No.
I said, no, it wasn't. But I worked 80-hour weeks. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
grind. We were,
It's not easy.
it's like baseball. I said, hey, the more at bats we get, the more we're going to get deals. And
For
and
sure.
I would start with the developer representative at like 4:30 or 5 in the morning. We would strategize and talk about things and rank units and do all this. And, I was doing tours with people during the peak season at 8, 9 o'clock at night, and I'd come home and my wife was like, who are you? Where are you?
Yeah, you don't even
Hey,
see each
it's
other.
real estate. It's real estate, in a terrible banking crisis environment. And we just got to work harder. And it goes
Work
back to
harder,
that
work
story of
smarter.
like, this is a hard business, and nobody cares if it got harder. It's like, can you still perform?
Can
Right.
you
That's
deliver or not? We don't care how, if you're working harder, longer, less money. No one cares. No one cares.
we
Deliver and
look, we're in
execute.
the I always say, Danny, we're in the wasting your time business. So whiz
Yes.
away, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm
Waste as
the
much
I'm
time
the
as you want. As long as it's your
I'm the
time. But they
yeah,
don't
I'm the
care if we're
director of
wasting our
wasting
time.
your time. Well, and that's where this baby
Well,
came
can
in,
you
because I was
imagine
like,
if you had the Immersion Theater to sell out,
uh,
the Ritz
well,
Carlton?
so one interesting tidbit for your audience is that about it's hard to say now with entities buying real estate, but we estimate somewhere between 30 and 40% of all um, real estate owned in the core of Vail Village is by Latin Americans, so
Wow.
Mexican buyers. We have a massive Mexican following here, and it's a safety thing. Coming from Mexico City, you come here and they love it. They can, let their kids go out and play and ride bikes and do their own thing, and they don't worry about
No
kidnappings
security
and
issues. Yeah.
and yeah, and so during that time with the Ritz, I was flying down to Mexico City 4 or 5 times a year, and literally with an
Didn't know
iPad,
that.
even back then, I was pitching people at breakfast and lunch, and I was selling them off, an iPad when things started to improve. And I said, it's a time to get in. And every single one of those clients that bought the first 3 years in there, have all thanked me. Like, you really were spot on, and it was very opportunistic. And we rose from the ashes, as we all know,
Yeah.
and have recovered and have long since put that um, real estate crisis in the rearview mirror for in virtually every market. And then we had the pandemic thing, which was at the other end. I mean, I dubbed it the pandemic gold rush. Remember
Yeah.
when people first came to the
They wanted
mountains,
to
the
get
Rocky
out of the
Mountains,
cities. They were all going to the mountains.
they were chasing the gold rush, right? So we
Yeah.
called it the pandemic gold rush. It was that same mentality, like, can't get here fast enough,
And
and
buy it, whatever the price, buy it, buy it.
just buy it. Yeah, put in
Is
bids
the
once.
Mexican migration, the wealthy Mexico City buyer, is that a common thread through Colorado resorts, or is it a Vail specific or aspect? I've never
It's
really
very
discussed that.
unique to Vail. I mean, you
Okay,
have your ones and twos in the other
sure, but
markets,
not like
but
a trend
Vail
of,
dominates it.
yeah.
I,
Okay,
I
so
mean,
that's
I would say, I don't know the
what I
exact
thought.
numbers, but we probably control 90% of the Latin American buyers in
Yeah, that's what I
Colorado.
figured because I've never encountered that. That's really interesting. So talk to me now about how your team is set up. I know you guys do an unbelievable amount of business. The price points are
Mhm.
high. It's clear the thread of success from your finance and analytical background, plus your luxury concierge experience, plus you're a people person. Put those all together with a good work ethic, you're going to have a successful career in most things. But talk to me now how
Yeah.
you've structured your team, admin, back office. Are there other agents? Is it just you?
Yeah, well, I always like to start by saying, I choose to partner with a company that I think I'm best aligned with. And I give a lot of credit to Compass. When Robert called me personally and said, hey, I want to launch Vail and I want to do it with you, he's like, what's the most important thing for you? I go, real legitimate service. Like, I need a service level agreement with you that is, quite frankly, more important than, maybe a little bit better split or
Yeah,
whatever it is that you're trying to entice people, because we're busy. And so I'm thankful and happy to report that Compass is, extraordinary. I mean, they have talented people.
for
I mean,
sure. I agree.
we're literally doing a new development launch right now, and I've got Felipe, out of LA,
Felipe
and
Hernandez, who
we
I just saw a few minutes
yeah,
ago in
yeah, we
my
were on a
office.
call with them yesterday. They're helping us do, branding, website launch, like all these things that I know how to do, but I used to have to go piecemeal that. And that's all in house. Compass
Yeah.
is doing that in a very high level way. So first of all, thank you for all that. They're amazing. My hat goes off to Felipe and his staff and everybody else. But then, to your point, like, what does our team look like? Well, this business has become multi-layered in terms of regulation and requirements and, social media and, digital platforms and the ways that we have to expose these properties. So, I wanted to not only appear to be really great in front of the curtain, which is what we pulled off with a lot of, you know, bamboo sleeves under your fingernails, if you want, to make people happy, you do whatever it takes. And that's
Yeah.
those 80-hour work weeks. But I said, it's got to be a better way. It can't be complete chaos
Right.
behind the curtain, which is kind of how the business has been for most people and continues to be. So I said, I want to really do something about it. So I actually hired away from Compass, and Robert was great. One of their top recruiters, she recruited me, and sort of organically, I'm like, "You're great," and she's like, "You're great," and I said, "Why don't you come and be my COO for my
Yeah.
team?"
Run the whole
Which was pretty
thing.
unique, and I took off a lot of that day-to-day operational stuff that I was burdened with, and so we did that, and then now we have a team of 7 people. So in addition to all of Compass's resources, I have my own director of marketing who I brought over from my Sotheby's Realty days, and she does everything just for us. So she runs our social media,
Yeah.
and then we have an inside sales manager that works with the Compass TC to make sure all of our, I call it our dashboard, but all of our transactions are all running smooth, and the things that need to happen, with
Sure.
inspections and dates and deadlines, they handle all that, and we get daily summary reports. And then Patrick Barrett, who I hired to be my um, sales assistant at the Ritz-Carlton project
Wow.
12 years ago.
All the way from the
So
beginning.
yeah, he's a fully licensed selling agent, and he worked along beside me for a while, but he's kind of doing his own thing. And then he and I have shadow assistants that just do everything. Chip is by my side throughout the day. John is with Patrick throughout the day, and we're going to make a big announcement on another senior hire in January, and we've got um, a $500 million in sales production in our crosshairs. We're going to do that.
Woo.
And with the Immersion Theater, I've told everybody it scares them because I put big reach goals out there, but we accomplish them. I said, before I retire, and you can see I got a little gray hair, so I don't have forever. I said, between all of this infrastructure that we're doing and hard work by everybody and this Immersion Theater, I said, this team is going to do $1 billion in one
Love it.
calendar year. I'm convinced of that, and I think
For
we can
sure.
get
It's
there. I mean,
happening. It's happening.
it's happening. Like we talk about it, and it's part of our DNA every day, and but never without customers are always first. Our clients are always first. We got to serve
Absolutely.
them well. We're giving them sushi and champagne. We're already getting that part right, but
Yeah.
good advice, sound advice, and analytics and honesty. Like, don't buy that house. I think we can wait. We can get another better one. Like, what's the one of the biggest successes of top agents? It's referrals. And
All referrals.
we track it relentlessly. We have a customized dashboard, and so I can tell you, I'm tracking 87% referral rate for 2023,
Right.
right? And
87. That's probably
um,
about right. 90% is always about what I track.
the phone rings off the hook, and Compass kills it, like,
Yeah.
across the country. And I gotta be honest, for everybody listening, when I left Sotheby's, I'm like, I don't know if you can compete with those brokers and that sphere of influence and that referral network, but we're getting more frequent referrals, and they're better quality referrals with
Yeah.
Compass than I ever got with Sotheby's. And I'm
Yeah.
proud to say that. And I didn't even
I
move
hear that
over
a
here
lot.
thinking that would be the case.
Yeah. I mean, it's like icing on the cake. I hear that a lot from different agents in different regions. On my own experience, I've been referring out and getting
And
referrals.
yeah, and by the way, Danny, there's a huge Sotheby's alumni that is currently with Compass for good reason. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
greener
Well,
pastures
for sure. And
and
every company and
yeah.
every. So can you share any fun or crazy stories that won't get you into trouble? I mean, I can't imagine some of the characters and situations that take place in those high-end, high-heated deals. But if there's anything that comes to mind that you want to share, the mic is yours.
Well, you know, there's been, I mean, we take privacy and confidentiality very seriously, but
Of course.
you know,
That's why I
I've
say
been
don't
in
get
the
yourself into trouble. I know there's a lot of
yeah. Well,
things we
I've s-
sign.
I've one kind of funny story. It's sort of somewhere between PG, not quite R rated, but I'll keep
Oh,
it
come
clean enough.
on. We want to
I
push the
keep it clean
envelope.
enough. Yeah. Well, I literally walked into a condo one day after appropriately knocking on the door, making sure everything was okay. And I walked in, and there were two professional athletes from different sports
Together.
doing their thing. And
Yeah,
you know,
mixing
I
it up.
walked into the middle of it, and I was like, "Whoa!" I don't know if I'm more shocked that people are having sex in front of me right now, or it's
That's
like
who
two
it was.
really well-known professional celebrities of the same sex having sex. I was like,
Even better.
I did sort of the backpedal out of
Like,
it.
oh,
I'm
I
like,
didn't
I
see
got
it.
it all
No, I
good.
didn't see anything. No one here.
Yeah,
All
I'm
good.
all good. Yeah, if you guys
Continue.
buy a condo, I'll keep it all a secret. Anyway, you know,
That's a
I've
good
been
one.
lucky. I've got you know, a couple of big music entertainers I've bought and sold real estate for that are terrific people, and you know, lots of CEOs and but just everyday people, you know, people
Yeah.
that are in the garbage business. And what I love, I think what I love the most is that they don't none of them needs to own a place in Vail. They do it because one, they something good happened in their life, and two, you know, they want to experience this with family and friends, and they're just so awesome and so grateful. And I think you can agree with me that real estate is extremely personal. When you start embedding yourself in
Yeah.
that, you hear
So
about
personal.
their kids and their wives and their finances. And, you know, after a while, these people
Absolutely.
realize, like, holy shit, I gave them like the
Everything.
keys to my world more
Yeah.
than most people that, you know, at that level normally do. And that's just awesome. And um, you know, I am convinced that because of, you know, the market that I'm in, I've been very, you know, like in Beverly Hills, you know, you see amazing people from all walks of life, and we see the same thing here in a very, you know, um, intimate setting, you
Yeah.
know, and there's something powerful about that. But you know, I continue to have a ton of fun in this business, and
Good.
it is hard work, but you know, people appreciate what we do, and we innovate. You know, our team continues to innovate, and I may be the gray-haired guy on the team, but they all go like, "You're the tech guy that just like
I love
can't
it.
get enough of it." And I'm like, "We got to get better. We got to get faster. We got to serve our clients better." And it's fun, man. This business is fun.
It's fun at times, yes. Let me get into, because someone who has such a big business and such a big life, I like to find out, do you have work-life balance? What does that look like for you? Do you have a routine fitness morning thing? Is it family with kids? Like, tell me, with these 80-hour work weeks, and even if it's not 80-hour, the high pressure work that we do, and obviously you're building out your immersion studio and you're running this elite team, and what does life look like for you every day, and how do you keep things balanced? What do you do?
You know, I was hoping you were going to ask this because this is one of my favorite topics to talk about because I think it resonates, especially with top agents all the
Yeah,
time. It's like you can get swept up in this business.
yeah,
And I admitted openly for a while there, I worked 80-hour weeks. I don't do that anymore. You know, like I'm not effective at doing that. We have momentum so people know who we are. And I have a comprehensive team. So I'm proud to say I worked maybe 2 weekends this whole year in
yeah.
2023. And I own a ranch right on the Colorado River.
Oh,
So, you
nice.
know, I'm big into fly fishing, and
Oh, I
we're
love it.
putting in a shooting range out there where we have
Oh, I
targets
need
and
to
we can
come. I want to fly, fish, and shoot. That sounds awesome.
you literally can walk out, you know, and put your paddleboard right in the river, and we paddleboard down and do sunsets.
Come
And
on.
on any given day, we'll see
How far is
five to
that from
10.
you, from Vail?
It's exactly 1 hour
Oh,
from my house door to
incredible.
door. It's perfect, like
Incredible.
decompress. And of course I love skiing, and I've climbed big mountains. I've been out to Seattle and climbed Mount Rainier, on a
Ooh,
glacier, and so I don't chase things quite that hard anymore because that's I don't mind the suffering still. It keeps me in good shape. In terms of a exercise routine, you know, I'm not a gym rat, although, I have a gym in my house and like to exercise there. I just think, the healthiest way to think about your life is get after it. Get out there and go for big hikes with your dog or your family. And, my kids were both big soccer players. So I was on the pitch running around kicking a soccer ball with them. And now my youngest 17-year-old, he's a FIS level NORAM freestyle mogul skier. And so
ooh.
I was literally out skiing with him the other day,
That's not
and
good on the knees.
well, he's just got the fountain of youth. It's not
Yeah.
good on my knees
No.
because I don't have that same youth. But I skied with my kids over Thanksgiving break, and my oldest one's at Cal Poly in San Luis
Oh
Obispo.
God, you have someone in California?
Yeah, yeah, he'll probably end up in SoCal. He likes San Diego, maybe, I don't know, but they're active kids, and that lifestyle that I chose for me sort of spilled over with them, and it's been fun to watch.
I'm sure.
Growing up here when the pandemic hit, and our kids could literally go out and go hike in the woods or go snowmobiling or whatever, and everybody else is on the 40th floor of a high rise in New York
Yeah.
City going, "What the
Yeah.
happened?"
You
We're
guys had
trapped. And
camp. You guys had camp. You were out in the
yeah,
wilderness with skiing and
we were
fishing
Boy
and
Scouts, man,
yeah,
doing our
it's
thing,
awesome.
and
That
I, so I never take that for granted. I mean, literally, I'm looking this way out through my immersion theater, and I look up and I see all the skiers and the ski runs
you could see it right
happening,
there.
and thank you for Compass for agreeing to give us this main location that we're based out of. And no, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I
I
have a
love it.
beautiful family and a great lifestyle and great clients, and I've been wildly successful at doing this. And by
No
the way, this
doubt.
kind of stuff is fun, just getting on the air and talking. And if somebody can learn a little bit about how I've approached it, love that.
Yeah.
It's great to tell stories
Any
because they're
any books that you would recommend to other people in the business or coming up, whether it's our business, any books or podcasts that you like or things that you say, hey, this would be good for someone to read or listen to?
you know it's interesting. I don't do a lot of sort of like split the difference.
Yeah, yeah.
I've read
Business
those
books.
books. I think they're terrific, but I tell people I don't endorse any particular book or podcast, but what I do is I think about what my needs are. Like right now, my big thing is longevity. You know, like you know when you have less runway in front of you
Sure.
in your career than behind you, you start thinking about that. So I've been big into diet and fascinated. um I don't know if anybody's ever seen the Netflix, a mini documentary. Watch it if you're into longevity, because it's called The Blue Zone.
Yes,
And
of
this guy,
course.
yeah,
Yeah, I've watched it. I know
it's
all about it.
fascinating to me. It's
Optimizing
fascinating to
your
me.
lifespan and living in certain
And
regions and eating
yeah,
certain
and
ways.
yeah, eating weight, and but they do a lot of what made me feel good is like exercise. Like I've just been out moving naturally, and
Yeah,
that's what a lot of these centenarians have
absolutely.
done. Just
That's
get out and do it. So
that's a
if you
big fundamental block. Just moving,
yeah,
walking, gardening, whatever. That was a very common thread. There are people
yeah,
that
and I
live
would
to
tell everybody,
100 or more.
yeah, I would tell everybody, like, don't be afraid to look back in your life and challenge yourself. Like I took this year, I took 3 weeks off in different segments to go do some men's groups and work on myself, and I did some stuff on like childhood trauma. I was
Yeah.
fascinated. Like a lot of people go, "Oh, I had a good childhood." Well, we all had some sort of childhood
Well,
trauma, and
yeah,
I
we're
unlocked
human.
some. I unlocked some really cool stuff about myself, and
Well,
never
you're
being
looking.
afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah, never being afraid to, regardless of what age you are, if you're in your 20s or 50s or 60s or whatever. Like, don't you want to get better? Like I
Yeah.
do, and looking in the mirror and saying, "Dude, be honest with yourself. Like, you know, do you do this? Do you procrastinate, or do you have certain
I love
fears,
this.
or
Yeah.
are you a workaholic, like, or are you honoring, your loved ones? Like, are you intentional about those relationships? Are you emotionally connected? And by the way, when you do that, you become emotionally connected, and you become a better listener with your clients. And, like, we love what we say, our team, we have a great team culture. We literally all love each other. We went out the other night, we had a few drinks and went bowling, and it was
Amazing.
like very competitive, and we all went home. We had a car service. So if anybody's listening, we did do some
Did it
drinking, but
right.
we
Did it right.
we had a
Safe.
car, drove us
Safety
home. But
first.
safety first. But everybody showed back up into work and going like, that's just so awesome, and that's
Yes, it
being
recharges you.
intentional. That's being intentional about you know um, what you want out of your life, because this business can be all consuming. And so to answer your question, I listen, I like Joe Rogan. I'll listen to some of his
Love Joe.
podcasts.
Love
But
Joe.
I'm not married into sort of one lane.
Yeah,
It's like
you're
I want.
learning from wherever you can learn. You're open to it. You're looking, being intentional, trying to continuously improve, get better, open your mind. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
Yeah. And by the way, spiritual, like, I got into meditation a lot this last year,
Yeah.
and it changed my life. And 15, 20 minutes a day, like, quieting all the noise. And
Huh.
um I will tell everybody that's listening here, did a little diet change and got into meditation, and my average hours per sleep a day for the last 2 decades went from about 5.5 hours to over 8 hours a day now.
Really?
And
That's
yeah, and
dramatic.
and and
What a huge
meditation
difference.
is real, people. It is real.
Yeah.
It's a mindfulness to just, you know, in our business, we have uh, constant bombardment with
Yeah.
checklists and follow up and
Yeah.
all of that. And
Coming
I
at
would
us at all times.
wake up at 3 in the morning, and my list would start going, and I would push it back because I was like, it's sleep time. And what I learned is, through mindfulness, is just open up this funnel and let it. It turns out, if you let it come at you, um, the same way that you can't hold it back, you can't keep it from coming and moving through you.
Yeah.
And I started doing that, and I had tinnitus or tinnitus in my ears. I resolved that too. I said, stop, freaking out and saying, I can't stand this ringing, and let it happen. And by the way, I did it all with no drugs, right? There's no drugs, there's no therapy. It's like, just anybody can wake up in the morning. 10% Happier is an
Hmm.
app you can download.
Okay. I've heard of
And it
that.
is,
Yeah.
they have podcasts. What I love is, this guy that runs it was a lot like me, a former finance guy. He's in that. So he wasn't like, the Dalai Lama. This is
Yeah.
the guy that's like,
Wasn't a monk.
and he does podcasts with, you know,
Of course, I know it.
celebrities and psychology, everything, and it just everyday people, finding the simplicity and mindfulness meditation.
Are
So
you
I
are you
highly
doing it
encourage
with an
people.
app? Are you doing the mindfulness with an app? Or are you just sitting quietly on your own, or both?
Well, as with anything, it can evolve. The more you
Yeah.
do it, the better you get. I do it with the 10% Happier app. I'm not
Okay.
endorsing them.
You're
I'm
not
just saying,
sponsored? I should get them to
yeah,
sponsor the
Calm.
show.
Calm is out there, right? Like on his YouTube channel. I'm gonna, read below. You're gonna
Yeah,
get 10%
Headspace,
off.
Calm. There's a lot
Yeah,
of them. Yeah.
I don't have any dog in the race. There's a lot of good ones. Find one that you like. But it was a way to kind of get started. And this guy just really taught me the simplicity in the beginning of just sitting quietly. And speaking of my ranch, I would literally put my headphones into my phone, and I'd sit out there by the Colorado rivers floating
Oh,
by, and shut my eyes and have those quiet moments, and all those ions that emit from the river. I mean, what a year for me. It's just been
sounds like
life
it.
altering. And so,
I
and
love it.
by the way, I was terrified in the beginning, like, if I wasn't working weekends and I wasn't putting 110% all the time, that my business was going to go like this. And
Yeah.
I'm going to quietly have one of my best years ever this year. And
Letting
I
go, you do better.
work less, yeah, I was more productive, and my clients just see it. They're like, you just seem like really with it, you
Well,
have
you
it.
are just
So
dropping wisdom and knowledge. I love it. This is wonderful. That's another wonderful thing to hear about, sort of investing in yourself and letting go of that workaholic have to go, 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 yet you're getting better results when you do that. You're pulling back and thinking more about, healthier things in yourself, yet your business is continuing to rise. It's not going down.
yeah,
Such a
yeah. And my
great
team is
lesson.
seeing they can step into more opportunity, right? Like, so it's great for them too. And my family sees it. Wow, you're so much more engaged, and you're taking time off, and we appreciate that. And it just all is clicking. You just got to have that leap of faith that taking care of yourself is just as important as taking care of other people.
Right there. That's it. I love that.
I will literally wrap up with you. It's
Yes.
128 in Vail, and when we're done, and by the way, I could do this is fun for me, but I'll literally walk out and go take a 2-hour vacation. I'll strap on my
You
skis
could
and
go ski a couple
um,
lifts, right?
yeah, it's right out my front door here. I walk up
God
there and
damn it. I'm
you know
jealous.
go and then be back in here, and
Sitting
if
at your
somebody
desk an
calls
hour
me,
later.
I got, thank goodness for Apple. I got my AirPods in, and they call me on the lift, and I'm like, I'll either, my dad told me a long time ago, a phone call is merely an invitation. It is not an obligation. So
I,
sometimes I'm like, I'm not answering it.
yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, hey, this could be a good call. So it's taken me a while, but I
I,
feel like
I
I've
bet
got
it
most
doesn't.
of it
That
figured
doesn't
out.
happen overnight to have the confidence
Yeah.
and to let go and not feel like you're going to miss something. Well, thank you for sharing. Anything else before we go that you want to say? Any other advice or thoughts or anything at all? And you've shared so much. It's like a sage breaking things
Well,
down.
the only thing I would say is that, um, the more things change, the more they stay the same. There's a
Okay.
lot of buzz in the industry about what's going to happen, and the market, and the
Yeah.
economy and all that. And I would just say, if you care about this business, just keep working hard. Sometimes it gets real easy, like it did in the pandemic, at least in terms of a lot of sales. Although I don't want to go back to that anymore. I worked way too much, but don't lose your confidence. Don't get frustrated. Just one day at a time. I love what Robert said: is get 1% better every day, and if you do that at the end of the year, you're 365% better. People, it's
Think
not
about that.
complicated.
Yeah. Think about that.
1% better, and be positive. We're in a very interesting business where it's easy to get down, but people rely on us to be upbeat, not, pie in the sky BS, but, you know, Beverly Hills, Vail, like most of the places that Compass operates in, these are blue chip markets. You're in a great market. So be positive and
Yeah.
show up and innovate and be that next thing that people need to unlock that real estate equation. That's what I would say. And in slow times, you got to figure out what's next. In good times, you got to figure out what's next. But be ahead of that cycle. Don't be part of the cattle and do what everybody else was doing. Pick up the phone, call Danny Brown and say, "What are you hearing, man? Tye, what are you hearing? Stephen Shane, what are you hearing? Liz Hogan in Miami, what are you hearing? Like we're out there,
Yeah.
you
Share
know,
share the info.
call us. We will all answer the phone. I don't care whether we're doing 10 million a year or, you know, 400 million. Like,
Right.
we all want to share knowledge and best practice. And I just love that, man. I
Me
love
too.
just giving back and helping everybody get better and unlock something. I mean, this was a brainchild of a lot of different ideas
I'm
that
sure. I
that
can't
you
wait to come
know
check that out. Ha! Do some fly fishing, check that out, do some skiing in the winter. Man, thank you. It's been
absolutely.
I think 2 or 3 years I've been trying to get you on this show, and I'm so glad we made it happen. We'll have you on again.
Oh
There's so
man,
much to talk about, but you crushed it, man. I love having you, and look forward to seeing you and talking
bravo!
more
You're
soon.
the best. Yeah, you're awesome, and thanks for being appropriately persistent.
Ah,
Just going a
I
lot of
know.
different
We
directions,
all
but
got a few
I
things
loved
going
it.
on.
Yeah, I love it. It's a real privilege and an honor to be on your show, Danny. Thank you, and I had a ton of fun
Me
chatting with
too.
you, man. You're easy to talk to, and great questions and great insight, and just yeah, just happy to be doing this. So thank you.
Tye Stockton, Vail, you heard it here first on the deal. Hey, we'll talk soon, Tye. Thanks, brother.